Sex Education,
Oh
uh,
yeah,
a show whose first season made it onto my top 10 list. And you should go check out that best of 2019 top 10 list for
that's right.
TV, as well as movies and music and everything else we talked about. Uh, Created by Lori Nunn. Um, I mean, when we talked about it, and it came close to making your end of year list too last year.
Hmm.
I think what we liked about it was a British teen drama that touched on a lot of current issues of identity and
Yep.
diversity in a way that was thoughtful and kind of kept its playfulness and had a good balance between that like humor and the serious aspect of it. And we were pretty impressed. Do
Yep.
you feel like season two brought more of the same? Did it level up? Where are you at with season two?
Yeah, and again, because it came out of nowhere,
Yeah.
like a few Netflix shows do every year, that kind of adds to the admiration because you just go in with no expectations.
Mhm.
This time, obviously, knowing they have expectations, knowing that by all accounts it was a big hit. Apparently, Netflix said 40 million people watched season one in the first month. Who the fuck knows what that means? They change what that means all the time. But anyway, people watch, people like the show. You can see on social media the whole cast of characters has gone pretty famous. Like
Mm-hmm.
people are into this show. But yeah, going into season two, or we're watching season two. I wouldn't say it leveled up in a sense, but it didn't let me down. It still kind of gave me what I want. I think it was interesting because it did things differently by changing up some of the core dynamics on the show, namely like the whole clinic aspect of Otis giving advice more or less was not part of this season, and having his mom be more directly involved in everyone else's storylines by being in the school, and then kind of just making the story, I think, just more broader. Bringing in the parents, bringing in the teachers, just more B plots was cool, and I still really enjoyed it. What did you think?
I actually think I liked this season more than season one. Um, what I think I liked more, season one, there's a part in the middle where Eric and Otis, the main friendship that you're following,
Right.
um, they have a falling out, they get mad at each other, and they don't really like speak for like two or three episodes. And I found that to be so frustrating in season one because I felt like I just wanted them to communicate, I wanted them to talk it out. And I felt like that took away some of like the pleasure of the show for me. And season two, while having some conflict between them, they resolve it pretty quickly and they kind of keep that relationship at the heart of the show, and they're kind of like the support as they each go on their own adventures and discovering themselves and the relationships that they find themselves in. And I think they balance the drama of the season a little bit better than maybe they
Right.
did last season with
Sure.
some of the humor. I mean, there's still some things about the show that I think could be improved. Like out of nowhere, the play at the end is a musical that's so weird and like out there, and you don't really get that like delivered to you until the last episode. But
Right.
I still thought I thought they made this a lot more of a fun watch this season than maybe they did in season one, which is hard to do because it was a fun watch in season one. I also thought they introduced and built out a lot of the characters a little bit better in this season.
Definitely.
And like you get someone like Viv who kind of comes
Yeah.
into the season unknown and leaves as probably one of my favorites. So
Yeah. She was brand new this season, right?
yeah, as far as I remember.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Yeah. I like Viv a lot, and along those lines, Jackson,
Uh-huh.
making him a little more multi-layered, even if the through the thread he's on, it might be familiar and easy to comprehend. It's still cool to see that be layered more. It was interesting too because Maeve is largely separated from the rest of the gang for large swaths of this season, but in its place, you have Maeve dealing with lots of important personal stories, and I think touching on some deeper stuff. And because Emma Mackey is such a talented performer, she really carries those scenes well. So it was still good. But I'm trying to think. Like, I think my favorite aspect overall was probably just having Eric get into a relationship with somebody else and have
Raheem.
more going on. Raheem cutting everyone with that strong jaw.
Mm-hmm.
The Dance Dance Revolution scene was really
Mm-hmm.
cool. Um, everything with the everything with the rail yard I thought was kind of funny. I didn't ask it to be a recurring motif the way it was, especially at the end when they have like a Breakfast Club esque,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, girl power scene.
Yeah.
And in a sense, there's a Me Too storyline here in a certain sense as well. I think that's handled pretty deftly as well. Um, but
I
ultimately, there's a lot of tropey stuff, right? There's lots of triangles, lots of love triangles,
right.
lots of cliches, but it's okay because I think because you like all these performers and you like all these characters, and as you said, the ensembles being fleshed out more, it's just such a fun time to hang at that school and with those people that you don't mind if some of the storylines are a little, familiar.
Yeah. It, in watching and talking with some people that watched it, something that came up a lot was this reminded me a lot of Euphoria, this season, and I think where it kind of lands for me in terms of like the current high school dramas is Euphoria is like all the way over at this extreme, and Sex Education I feel like falls a little bit like a step or two back from that extreme because it really is a lot more palatable. Euphoria is can be so explicit, so graphic. People are on so many drugs there. The parties are so extreme and so
Yep.
lavish. I mean, even the party they have here is ridiculous, and like Otis is, but like at the after effects of it, and like
Mm-hmm.
the things that happen feel so much more like grounded in a way. Um, I don't know. I think sex education for me, even though it doesn't have the style level of Euphoria,
No,
I
certainly not.
still I still think it hits better for me just because I find it a lot more pleasurable to watch episode to episode.
Right.
I also thought you kind of touched on like Amy Gibbs and her storyline of the what happens to her on the bus and how that's handled. I thought that was great. I thought talking about asexuality and all the different types of sexuality was handled really well. And kind of just the whole storyline with Gillian Anderson's Dr. Milburn kind of coming into the school
Yeah.
and giving advice, and then kind of finding out that Otis was giving advice, and how that all kind of came into a crescendo at the end of the season at the play. I thought that was all done really well and kind of handled with seriousness and humor. I'm just really impressed by the season. I think they seem to have found their stride. They know what the show is. They know what they want it to be, and there's so much for them to continue exploring. I mean, we're obviously going to get a lot more of Adam next season as he's kind of coming into his own, and I'm sure
Yeah.
his relationship with his dad's going to be at the center of it.
He was my least favorite part of this season, I'd say.
Really?
Yeah, I think in a sense you're spinning its wheels, but I was happy where it ended with Eric actually like telling him off after Otis, I think, actually had one of his more helpful pieces of advice given when he's like, "This guy treated you horribly for so long. This is dumb."
Yeah.
That was cool. That was good,
Yep.
So I think hopefully Adam's getting to a better place just because he was like the silent self-loathing type. It's just not like the best hang.
Mm-hmm.
And unlike, say, Jacob Elordi in Euphoria, who is in a similar situation, Adam doesn't really do a whole lot to impact the plot for most of it. So I think that the presence is not as strong, but we're getting there. They know what they have in this, as you said. Netflix hasn't renewed it for season 3 yet. They will. Last time it took them like a month, so that's going to happen. Also, shout out the actor who plays Sweet Robin Aaron from Game of Thrones. He's the guy
Yeah.
with the Rubik's Cube in this season.
So,
Total dork.
yeah. I hate that guy. But you know who I want to give a shout out to is Lily, played by Tanya Reynolds.
Yep. Hell yeah.
Her character, I think this season made the biggest leap for me from the first season. Jackson obviously is up there too because I didn't really like him much in the first season. I think they really do a good job of building him out in this season. But
Right.
Lily being this like weirdo alien sex writing person,
Octopus.
getting not only a relationship with another woman, but getting to write this play, direct this play, getting a lot of the like funny lines, and also kind of giving some sage advice. They really gave her some room. So
Yeah.
seems like the biggest riser in my book.
Right. One last shout out to they use Mystery of Love from Sufjan Stevens from Call Me by Your Name, which is just a cheat code for romantic montage scenes, and a smart choice. And I was happy to see that.
When that came on, I was like, Call Me by My Name. Like I know this song. Also, they use a cover of an LCD song over and over, which I
Oh shit.
was
Okay.
very excited
Hell
about.
yeah.
I can change. So some good music choices as well. Definitely a show I recommend checking out if you haven't. Early runner to be on my top 10 list of the year.